Hey guys, Shy Got Picks here. Hope everyone's doing well, having a great week. We're here to be breaking down UFC 310 Pantoja versus Asakura. We're going to be going over every single fight in the card, the best bets, what fights we should avoid, as well as our contest is back. This card is absolutely filled with bangers from top to bottom. This one should be a very fun one to watch. I'm excited to break it down. This fight card is this card is a pay-per-view card, so we're going to be giving away $15 to whoever can guess the closest to the total amount of significant strikes in the main event. Whoever gets closest gets $15. You must be subscribed and like this video to be eligible. Other than that, let's get right into it. For the first fight in the card, we got Kennedy and Nzechukwu versus Łukasz Brzeski. You know, when you look at their stats and styles, it's kind of a no-brainer here. With Kennedy and Nzechukwu, he's 13-3 as a professional, standing at 6-5 with a massive 83-inch reach. He's one of the longest fighters in the UFC, and that reach is going to be a nightmare for really anyone that tries to close a distance with him. He's a southpaw with really good striking. Kennedy has 8 knockouts on his record, making him a really dangerous striker and can end a fight really quickly. On the other side, we got Łukasz Brzeski. He's a heavyweight fighter with a record of 9 wins and 5 losses in 1 known contest at 6'4" and with a 78-inch reach. He's just a little bit shorter than Nzechukwu, and he mixes the striking with grappling, but he's been absolutely ass at the UFC level, and he lost 3 out of his last 4 fights. Brzeski does have 4 knockouts to his name, but his defense really is what gets him in trouble, you know. And Nzechukwu is really good at controlling the distance. His reach and his striking make it hard for his opponents to get, on him, and he's comfortable using his jab and long kicks to set up his finishes. Plus, his grappling has improved, and as seen in his submission, wouldn't over Kutalaba, really. Brzeski, though, he's tough and he's durable. His best shot would be closing the distance and getting past Nzechukwu's reach to work in the clinch or in the ground. But the problem is, how the fuck is he going to manage to find a way to really do that? I don't think he can. The advantage clearly goes to Nzechukwu. His reach, his power, and ability to dictate the pace of the fight are major factors here. Brzeski's toughness is commendable for sure, but I figure he's going to be stopped here by knockout, probably by the second round. I think Nzechukwu is too good here. Give me Nzechukwu round 2 knockout. For the next fight in the card, we got Chase Hooper versus Clay Guida. And I've gotten into a couple of arguments on this fight regarding the fact that people think that I'm disrespecting Clay Guida, and I'm absolutely not. Clay Guida is absolutely a dog, right? But we must remember that he's 42 years old. And not only that, he's 42 years old in 11 months, meaning that he's going to turn... He's literally, I think what's his birthday? His birthday is literally like next week. He's turning 43 very, very soon, and he's facing a Chase Hooper who's 25. Not only that, Clay Guida is 1-4 in his last 5 UFC bouts. Chase Hooper is 4-1 in his last 5 UFC bouts. Not only that, Chase Hooper has 4 finishes in those 4 wins. Also, he's faced him in a grappling match and has already submitted Clay Guida. So, all the odds are against Clay Guida. All right. So not only that, he's like plus 500, plus 650 now. So not only is he 43, he's 4 inches shorter. He has a 4-inch reach disadvantage. Everything is going against Clay Guida. And so I think it's difficult to not assume that Hooper's going to submit him again, right? Give me Hooper round 2 submission. Up next on the card, we got Michael Chiesa versus Max Payne Griffin. This is another fight that's going to be very tough to decipher, especially because both of these guys are old as well. One is 37, one's 39, and I'm pretty sure that you thought that Chiesa was 39. Believe it or not, Max Griffin is actually 2 years older than Michael Chiesa. With Michael Chiesa, he's 37 years old, 6'1", 75.5-inch reach. Meanwhile, Griffin is 5'11", 76-inch reach, right? And these guys, this fight is just so difficult the problem with Chiesa is that he's losing when he should lose and winning when he should win, I guess, right? But he's losing to Luque, he's losing to Sean Brady, and he's losing to Kevin Holland. Then he wins against Tony Ferguson. Whoop-de-doo kind of thing, right? Because we all know, sadly, Tony Ferguson's his past. He should retire, right? So, prior to his win to Tony Ferguson, we thought Chiesa should retire. But you also have Max Griffin, who's not that good either, right? He has losses against Neil Magny, Michael Morales. That's not a bad loss, of course, but Neil Magny, he went on a stint where he went 3-5 in an 8-fight span. So really, he's on his way out, kind of thing, right? So what really breaks this fight down? You got to look at their styles, Given that the striking advantage should be going to Griffin here, right? He's more of a dynamic fighter with knockout power and a versatile stand-up game. With Chiesa, he'll likely try to bring this fight to the ground, where he always, well, not always, but where he has the advantage in grappling. But with Griffin, he has some solid takedown defense and has shown he can avoid being controlled on the ground. If Griffin can keep the fight standing and avoid Chiesa's submission, I think he'll win. But like I said, this one's so hard, like when I first looked at this fight, I'm like, I'm going Chiesa. And then when I saw he was younger, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going Chiesa. Until you realize, like, oof, should I go with Chiesa? I don't know, man. This one, you got to avoid this fight. I'm going with Max Griffin decision, possibly a late knockout. I mean, at the end of the day, Chiesa is dangerous, but Griffin's ability to defend takedowns, I think, should give him the edge here. So, I don't know. What do you think, right? Give me Griffin decision. Up next on the card, we got Joshua Van versus Cody Durden. First up, we got Joshua Van. Van is only 23 years old, who's currently 11-2. He has 6 knockouts and 2 submissions. Van is a very good striker who mixes in a lot of movement and even grappling sometimes to really keep his opponents guessing. Kind of like when when you're playing the UFC video game, he's like always switching it up when going to the head or to the body. He's aggressive, high-paced. He really thrives on overwhelming his opponents with a lot of volume. On the other side, we got Cody Durden, a veteran fighter who's 17-6-1. Durden has 6 knockouts and 6 submissions, but his bread and butter has always been his wrestling. He's a relentless grappler who thrives in grinding out wins by bringing his opponents down, neutralizing their game plan, and finding a way on top and using his top control. Van is really good on the feet, but like I mentioned before, being able to switch things up and really beat up his opponents when he's in rhythm and in a flow, but he's basically untested when regarding a really good wrestler, aka a Cody Durden. Durden's cardio and control could make this a difficult matchup for Van, especially if he struggles to get off of his back. Durden has been submitted before, but, Van only really has 2 submission wins, but I just don't see that ever being the game plan for Van. The thing with Van, though, he's a slow start, and and being slow against a high-level wrestler, I don't think that's going to be much in his favor here, I personally think this fight should be at pick'em odds. Durden at +110, Van at -115, something like that. Ultimately, I do got Van, but I wouldn't be shocked if it gets taken down and he can't get back up. There's value in the dog here. I'm not betting it. Ultimately, I got Van by decision. I don't think the -160 price tag is good enough, truthfully. I think he gets it done, but Durden is a veteran. He's good, and it's going to be tough for him. This is going to be a tough matchup for Van, but Van is really, really slick with the hands, and I do think he can get it done by decision. Give me Van by decision. Up next on the card, we got Chris Weidman versus Eryk Anders. This fight was rebooked for this card. Of course, it was canceled on the MSG card. I mentioned that, of course, because Chris Weidman is from Long Island, New York. I do think he's going to be rather pissed off that he wasn't able to fight again and or get that win, possibly get the win at MSG because he doesn't have one yet. So I do think that's going to be a little bit of a factor because he's probably going to be a little bit pissed off about that. Weidman enters this fight with a record of 16-7, with a UFC record of 12-6. He's 6'2". Weidman has a 78-inch reach, giving him a slight reach advantage. His wrestling background is his biggest strength, of course, having defeated legends like Anderson Silva, Lyoto Machida, and Vitor Belfort. We're talking about a man that he used to be number 6 ranked in 2012, number 2 ranked fighter of the year in 2013. His grappling skills have allowed him to control fights using strong takedowns and effective ground and pound. He has some solid wins. However, we for sure have seen him struggle a lot lately. His leg injury in 2021 was absolutely devastating. His last few losses, including to Uriah Hall and Dominick Reyes, make you question whether or not he should even be fighting anymore. With Eryk Anders, he's 16-8, 6'1", with a 75-inch reach. Anders comes in with some explosive power. He has 9 knockout or TKOs in his career. He's an athlete with a background in football, which has translated into speed and power within the cage. Though Anders is a dangerous in the stand-up game, his grappling has been exposed in losses to wrestlers like, Kyle Dawkins, for example. His takedown defense is definitely going to be tested here, as Weidman will more than likely try to close the distance and bring the fight to the ground. Weidman has proven he can control fights with his wrestling and ground game, but as we mentioned before, his recent performances have been very, very concerning. His age and injury history make him very unpredictable, but his experience and fight IQ are definitely still elite. On the other hand, with Anders, he can end fights quickly if he lands clean, but his grappling deficiencies could be problematic against someone like Weidman. This fight is incredibly unpredictable for all of these reasons, including the fact that they're fighting at 195 as a catchweight bout. Who knows how they'll look at the weigh-ins? Really, I've been going back and forth on this fight for a very long time. Of course, especially because it's been rebooked, It's still at pick'em odds, and I think it's for a reason. I don't even think it's gonna change. I think maybe Weidman can win, especially because I think him being pissed off not being able to fight at MSG, it's gonna be a factor, like I mentioned. But I don't know. I don't know if I can pick Weidman here. This is another fight where we should absolutely avoid. Like, I guess I'll go with Weidman, but I'll probably switch it later again too. I have no clue. I got it going by decision. That's for sure. But currently, I got Weidman by decision. I don't feel confident about it, but that's what we got. Up next on the card, we got Bryan the Butcher Battle versus Randy Rude Boy Brown. Fuck, am I excited for this fight? I am excited. Holy shit, am I fucking excited. This fight is going to be fucking fire. Now, let's talk about Bryan Pooh Bear Battle. Pooh Bear had long hair, and he was doing right? He was doing good. But now, we have Bryan the Butcher, the Blondie Battle. This guy has arrived. I like this guy. You've seen him talking shit in his last fight? Fuck. He's one of my favorite fighters now. Bryan Battle, the Tough 29 winner, has an MMA record of 11 wins, 2 losses, with a strong finishing rate of 5 finishes by submission and 4 by knockout. Standing 6'1" with a 77-inch reach, Battle brings a well-rounded game with sharp striking and a dangerous grappling arsenal. Notably, he lands an impressive 5.44 significant strikes per minute with a high 53% accuracy. His grappling is also really good with 0.96 takedowns per 15 minutes with a 50% submission attempt rate per 15 minutes. In his last 5 fights, Battle has shown a lot of growth in his game and finishing abilities. This is the arrival of the Butcher. He's coming off of a dominant TKO win against Kevin Jousset in September, following a rear naked chokehold to AJ Fletcher and a lightning fast 14-second KO against Gabe Green. His momentum is absolutely undeniable. Now, with Randy Brown, you get a seasoned UFC veteran. Rude Boy holds a record of 19 wins and 5 losses with 7 knockouts and 5 submissions. Standing at 6'3" with a 78-inch reach, he's a rangy striker who uses his height and clinch game effectively. Brown lands 4.38 significant strikes per minute and absorbs only 3.20, showing a strong defensive style. His grappling isn't as aggressive as Battle's, but his 70% takedown defense has helped him defend well against many grapplers. In his last 5 fights, Brown has gone 4-1, including an impressive TKO victory over Muslim Salikov and a dominant decision win against Leslie Zaleski dos Santos. However, his loss to Jack Della Maddalena exposed some vulnerabilities when pressured by elite grapplers. So, who has the edge here? Battle is the younger, fresher fighter with incredible momentum, that's for sure. His ability to mix striking and grappling makes him a tough puzzle for anyone. On the other hand, Brown's experience and reach advantage absolutely cannot be ignored. If he controls the range and avoids being taken down, he can absolutely frustrate Battle and pile up points on the feet, especially if they go to decision. Now, what I'm trying to say to you is, what the fuck is Bryan Battle fucking doing at, what is he at now? Negative 230 against fucking Rude Boy Brown? That's crazy to me. Do I think Battle wins? Yes. But I'm only slightly leaning towards him. Mind you, this guy has become one of my favorite fighters. I fucking love Bryan Battle now. This guy's fucking epic. He's doing the thing. He's knocking people out. He's doing what we want him to do if he's talking all this shit. You know what I'm saying? But for him to be at negative 230 odds, it's because he's talking shit and knocking people out. But I don't see. That's ridiculous as to why. There's no reason he should be at like negative 150. The price we're getting for Randy Rude Boy Brown is very enticing. But, like I said, I'm slightly leaning towards Bryan Battle in this one. His recent performances show a fighter who's improving rapidly and knows how to capitalize on openings. I predict a very competitive fight, but I do think Battle edges it out with possibly a late round submission. You know, this guy, he has 9 wins, 9 finishes in 11 wins, you know, but I don't, this is tough. I do got Bryan Battle, though. I know also, this is probably going to be my longest breakdown, but fuck am I excited for this fight. Up next on the card, we got Movsar Evloev versus Aljamain Sterling. Aljamain Sterling is standing at 5'7", has a 71-inch reach. Sterling has an impressive record of 22-4. Known for his incredible wrestling, Sterling averages 2.31 takedowns per 15 minutes and does have a solid 58% significant strike defense. While his stand-up has improved, his true strength, of course, relies on his grappling game, where he averages 0.73 submissions per 15 minutes. However, Sterling has shown, of course, vulnerabilities in his striking defense, particularly against powerful strikers, as we saw in his losses, like in Sean O'Malley. He does land 4.61 strikes per minute while only observing 2.30 per minute, which tells you, and I was kind of shocked on those stats, truthfully. Meanwhile, Evloev, on the other hand, he's an undefeated guy at 18-0 with a similar height and reach at 5'7" and 71 inches reach. His wrestling is top tier, of course, averaging 4.75 takedowns per 15 minutes with a 46% takedown accuracy. Meanwhile, he also has a 71% takedown defense, as Aljamain may want to grapple himself, of course. While his striking isn't as flashy as Sterling's, Evloev is efficient with 4.43 significant strikes per minute, which is almost as good as Aljamain's stats comparably. His control on the ground and relentless pressure make him a tough opponent for absolutely anyone. When it comes down to this matchup, both fighters have an outstanding wrestling pedigree, but Evloev's takedown defense and relentless pace could give him the edge in neutralizing Sterling's grappling, in my opinion. Sterling's main path to victory is by using his diverse game and submission skills, but really, Evloev he's shown a strong ability to grind out opponents and keep the control. Sterling's striking defense, especially against power punchers, could be tested here. While Sterling has faced some of the best in the game, including Peter Yan and Henry Cejudo and all the ones he's faced before, Evloev, his undefeated record and superior takedown control make him a tough puzzle for any fighter here. I'm leaning towards Evloev here as the favorite guy. He's the favorite. His relentless pressure and better takedown defense should allow him to control the fight. I would put him at around negative 180, negative 220 tops. But, of course, I'm not the bookmakers here. I do have Evloev here, and I do think he's going to win. And I do have him in some parlays. Sterling, despite his championship pedigree, I figure will likely struggle to match Evloev's pace and wrestling, so give me Evloev by decision. Up next on the card, we got Vicente Luque versus Themba Gorimbo. Starting off, we got Gorimbo. He holds an MMA record of 14 wins and 4 losses. He has a strong finishing rate of 6 wins by submission and 2 by knockout. He does have a grappling-heavy style at 6'0" with a 75-inch reach. Gorimbo uses, his frame effectively to secure takedowns and control his opponents. He averages an impressive 4.89 takedowns per 15 minutes with a success rate of 65%, making him a dangerous matchup for anyone who really struggles with grappling, really. In his last 5 fights, Gorimbo has built momentum. He's coming off of a decision win over Takashi Sato and a dominant performance win against Trevor Peek. These victories have, basically have highlighted his ability to control the tempo and grind out wins. He has shown some flaws, though, and he has not faced anybody as the level of experience that Luque has and the striking ability as well. Luque, he's 22-10 with 1 draw. He's a finisher by nature, of course. He has 11 wins by knockout, 8 wins by submission, standing at 5'11", 76-inch reach. Luque is a dynamic striker who thrives in aggressive exchanges. He lands 5.07 significant strikes per minute at a 52% accuracy and absorbs 5.21 strikes per minute as well. So he's really getting into bar burners all the time. He's absorbing more than he's landing, and he's landing a lot. He's willing to engage in high output battles, really. With Luque, he's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and that adds another layer to this game, of course, with submission wins against, Michael Chiesa and Tyron Woodley. However, his recent losses, particularly a KO loss to Jeff Neal, have raised, questions about his durability. In his last fight, Luque rebounded with a unanimous decision win against RDA, but it's RDA, who has the edge here? Gorimbo brings in relentless grappling and strong cardio to this fight, but Luque, his experience and especially against top-tier fighters and his ability to finish fights in multiple ways, gives him a really big advantage here. I think that Gorimbo opening up at -260 was ridiculous, and that's exactly why it dropped down to -160. I think we're still actually getting value on Luque here. I'm leaning towards Luque here in this matchup. I see him definitely defending early takedowns, wanting to keep the fight standing and landing some powerful shots to test Gorimbo's composure. I think that Luque can actually get a knockout or a submission here. I think this is going to be a fun fight. Give me Luque. I think he gets it done. Up next on the card, we got Anthony Smith versus Dominick Reyes. This is another fight where I also really don't know why this fight is so high up in the card, but I think it'll be kind of a fun one. At the end of the day, Dominick Reyes is the guy that I think he beat John Jones, the quote-unquote GOAT pound-per-pound fucking #1 pound-for-pound fighter, according to Dana White, of course. I think he won that fight. I definitely think he won that fight. But, of course, he lost to John Jones, and after that, I believe he fired his coach, and then he lost by KO by John Blachowicz, and then KO by Yuri Prohaska, and then KO by Ryan Spann. So it was a bad run for Dominick Reyes. And Dustin Jacoby, he ended up knocking out. Justin Jacoby, of course. But you have Anthony Smith, the Lionheart, which is really not showing his Lionheart anymore. I don't think he should be fighting anymore, and he's very active as much as he shouldn't be. A year and 6 months ago, he fought Johnny Walker and lost. A year and 2 months ago, he fought Ryan Spann and won. Then he got viciously KO'd by Roundtree 11 months ago. And then 6 months ago, he beats Vitor Vitrino, which is crazy, by guillotine. And then he loses to Roman Dolidze by unanimous decision 4 months ago. This guy's ridiculously active, and I don't understand why. I think Dominick Reyes has all the ways to win this fight, but should he be -340? Absolutely not. It's crazy. I guess I get why they're pricing him that way, because we think that we're never going to bet towards Anthony Smith. We're just going to always bet against him, so maybe that's why he's priced that way. But I mean, overall, I'm leaning towards Dominick Reyes for the win in this matchup. His superior striking and technical game make him the favorite here. And I think he'll be able to keep Smith at a distance long enough to land clean strikes. And he needs to either win this, not needs to, but I mean, I guess he does. He needs to keep on winning. But I think he's going to win either by decision or potentially a late knockout here. That being said, Smith's resilience and well-rounded game always make him a threat, so I can't really count him out. But I just also think he's kind of dog shit now. But then again, like I said, Dominick Reyes had a really tough streak. But he was losing to fighters that he should lose to. So, give me Reyes by decision. Would I ever bet him at -340? No. That's crazy. Up next on the card, we got Nate the Train Landwehr versus Do Ho Choi. Let's start off with Do Ho Choi, also known as the Korean Superboy. Choi's record stands at 15 wins, 4 losses, and 1 draw with 11 knockouts. He is a proven finisher, relying on precision striking and devastating power. Standing at 5'10" and a 70-inch reach, Choi is a technical striker who thrives in stand-up battles. However, inactivity has definitely plagued him. He's fought only twice since 2018, with durability definitely being a reoccurring concern here. On the other side, we have Nate the Train Landwehr with a record of 18 wins and 6 losses. Landwehr boasts 9 knockout wins and 4 submissions, making him a versatile and dangerous fighter. He's slightly shorter at 5'9", but he has a 72-inch reach, giving him an advantage in closing the distance. Known for his relentless pressure and cardio, Landwehr excels in chaotic fights and has been more active, fighting regularly over the past few years. In the striking department, Choi is a more technical and accurate striker, but Landwehr's aggression and volume could overwhelm him in the fight as it goes deeper into the rounds. Choi's knockout power make him a threat early, of course, especially if Landwehr leaves openings during his forward pressure. In the grappling department, Landwehr's grappling has shown significant improvement with multiple submission wins, while Choi has just 1 career submission. If Landwehr mixes in the takedowns, keeps Choi's guessing, it could be a deciding factor here. The cardio, this is Landwehr's strongest asset, so I think that's a given that we're going to be leaning towards the cardio side for Landwehr. I got Landwehr here, but here's my take. If Choi can take control of the pace and land clean counters, he's got a solid chance to secure an early KO or edge out the fight in striking exchanges. However, Landwehr's durability and pressure give him the advantage over the 3 rounds. But he is chaotic. He can get knocked out. So this is a scary one. But I do think he gets it done. I do think the odds are perfectly... I don't think they're going to move. I think they're going to stay around -150, -160 for Landwehr, and I think they're going to stay there. This is a tough one. I think this is going to be a really fun fight to watch. Give me Landwehr. I think he can get a knockout too, but I don't think so. Give me Landwehr by decision. Up next on the card, we got Bryce Mitchell versus Kron Gracie. I think this is an easy one to break down as well. -800 fighter in Bryce Thug Nasty Mitchell with a record of 16-2. Mitchell is known for his relentless wrestling, creative submissions, including a rare twister, and his ability to control fights from the start to finish, despite losses to top finishers like Ilia Topuria and Josh Emmett. Mitchell has shown he can hang with the best. His striking is serviceable, but his takedowns and suffocating top control are really what make him a tough matchup for anybody, really. Regarding Kron Gracie, I think he's trash, but he is part of MMA royalty with a record of 5-2. All 5 wins are by submission, of course. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's second to none, really, of course. He's a Gracie. But his MMA game has struggled to evolve beyond grappling. In his most recent fight against Charles Jourdain, Gracie's limited striking and inability to adapt were really exposed, and it led him to a unanimous decision loss. I think there's going to be no other result here. I think he's going to lose, and I think it's going to be by decision, and I think it's an easy way to predict this one. Give me Bryce Mitchell by decision. Up next on the card, we got Ciryl Gane versus Alexander Volkov. With Ciryl Gane, we got the former interim heavyweight champion. Gane has a professional MMA record of 12 wins and 2 losses. He's known for his exceptional movement and precision striking. With an impressive reach of 81 inches, Gane has the ability to control range and frustrate his opponents. He lands 5.49 significant strikes per minute while absorbing only 2.19 strikes per minute, showing that he has solid defense to go along with his offensive skills. Now with Alexander Volkov, he's a veteran at the heavyweight division. Volkov holds a record of 37 wins and 10 losses. He's known for his knockout power. Volkov has finished 24 of his victories by knockout. His reach is slightly shorter at 80 inches, but he still managed to use his range effectively as he always does. This is a rematch, of course. Volkov lands 5.13 significant strikes per minute and absorbs 3.00 strikes per minute, which shows his ability to stay competitive in striking exchanges as well. Gane's striking style is fluid and technical. He uses his footwork to stay out of range, constantly moving and picking his shots. His ability to fight at a high pace and maintain high distance is one of his greatest strengths. Gane is also versatile, capable of winning by knockout or decision. On the other hand, Volkov is more traditional heavyweight striker, relying on his power and long-range strikers to wear opponents down. While he doesn't have the same level of agility as Gane, Volkov's ability to land heavy shots, particularly late in the fights, make him a dangerous threat. Now, I do slightly give the edge on Ciryl Gane, and I do mention that as slightly. I think he has superior footwork, speed, and defensive striking, and I think that'll allow him to control the pace of the fight. But the fact of the matter is that he's like at negative 340 now, which is ridiculous. I do think Volkov has a chance to win. I do know that they went 5 rounds and Volkov lost. I do know that. But that does not mean that Volkov is not on a 4-fight winning streak. He's doing well. He has momentum on his side. So, I just don't agree with these odds. This is a tough one. I think this is going to be a very nice matchup and a very fun and exciting one to watch. I do got Gane winning by decision, but I think Volkov has a chance. But like I mentioned to you before, there was 5 rounds last time, and this one is 3 rounds now. That should favor Gane. Give me Gane by decision. Up next in the card, we got the co-main event. Another extremely exciting fight. We got Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Ian Machado Garry. With Rakhmonov, he is undefeated at 18-0 with 8 knockouts and 10 submissions, maintaining a stunning 100% finish rate. He stands at 6'1" with a 77-inch reach and a 61% significant strike accuracy. Rakhmonov's game is he's dangerous on the ground as it is on the feet as well, making him one of the most versatile threats in the division. Ian Machado Garry, also undefeated at 15-0, stands taller at 6'3" with a 74-inch reach. He's a technical striker with precise footwork, a 55% significant strike accuracy, and solid defense. His ability to control range and frustrate opponents has been key to his rise in the division. Rakhmonov's relentless pressure and ability to mix striking and grappling create constant danger in this fight. Garry's game plan will likely focus on keeping Rakhmonov's, keeping him at bay with his reach and his crisp jab, avoiding prolonged grappling exchanges against Rakhmonov, and capitalizing on counter-striking his opponent here. Now, mind you, I need you to understand that Ian Machado Garry was supposed to fight a week later, and he took this fight. It's not on short notice because he was supposed to fight next week, but I don't think he's taking this fight because he thinks that he's going to lose, right? I think he takes the fight because he thinks he's going to win. And I'm not saying that I think he's going to win. I'm just saying that this is another fight I just don't agree with these odds. I think he should be at negative 180. I think Garry should... I think there's value on Garry. That does not mean I'm going with Garry. I think both fighters are phenomenal. I'll give the slight edge to Rakhmonov due to his ability to adapt and finish fights in multiple ways. Garry's striking can make this a very, very close fight and early. But Rakhmonov's pressure and well-roundedness might wear him down. I think that Rakhmonov wins by a submission later in the rounds. I don't think he's going to win by decision, right? I can't go with that. So, give me Rakhmonov, round 3 submission. Up next in the card, we got the main event of the night, Alexander Pantoja versus Kai Asakura. Pantoja is the UFC flyweight champion with a record of 26-5, standing at 5'5". He has a 67-inch reach. He's known for his relentless pressure, his slick submissions, and his very solid chin. Pantoja does have 10 wins by submission, 8 wins by knockout, making him a very, very solid finisher. On the other side, you got Kai Asakura. He's a striking specialist with a record of 20-4, standing at 5'8", 69-inch reach. He does have devastating knockout power. He's shown that by fucking literally breaking someone's jaw. He has creative striking setups. Asakura has 13 wins by knockout and has a whole highlight reel of flashy finishes. This guy's literally a star. That's why they have him here. There's a reason why you've never heard of him, and he's making his UFC debut against the champion. It's for a reason. This guy's legit. He's a star, and they're trying to tap into the market. This fight is going to be fucking awesome. I do think Pantoja got it here. I think his path to victories relies on his grappling. If he can pressure Asakura and close the distance and drag the fight to the ground, his submission game is fucking elite, so I think it'll take over. However, Asakura's striking advantage and reach could give Pantoja problems if the fight stays standing. Asakura's power and unorthodox combinations make him like a constant threat in the striking exchanges. It just really comes down to if Pantoja brings him down. Because Pantoja is legit on the hands, but he doesn't want to fight him in the hands. It doesn't make sense. Let's be honest. His path to victory is to take him down. As exciting as Asakura is, I lean toward Pantoja in this matchup. His durability and ability to wear down storms allows him to adapt and push the pace into grappling exchanges, while Asakura could land something spectacular. I think Pantoja's pressure and well-roundedness will likely give him the edge here. I think Pantoja wins by a submission later in the rounds. I think this is a good matchup stylistically for Pantoja, given the fact that Asakura is a striking specialist. Given the fact, though, is that he can get knocked out here. I don't see that happening. It would be fantastic if that's the case. But Steve Erceg could have done the same thing, but he didn't, right? So, I mean, it was close, but you get my point. I think it's the same thing here, where Steve Erceg has knockout power, but he just gets taken down. Give me Pantoja. I think he could submit him. Maybe submission, but I think Pantoja gets it done. That's it for me here. Don't forget to comment below your guess for the total amount of significant strikes in the main event. Let me know what your bets are, who you guys got. Other than that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Stay up.